Good morning, everybody. As Jeff said, I'm Bev Godwin from the U.S. General Services Administration, and I'm delighted to moderate this panel. And if my slides could be pulled up, I want to go over a little bit more about Challenge.gov. But we have a fabulous group of panelists who are going to help us go through how to run an effective challenge through open innovation platforms. And Robin covered the context of this is in the President's Strategy for American Innovation, so I'm not going to go over that. Also, Kareem Lakhani talked about why challenges and prizes, but I want to focus on one bullet point here from a government perspective, and that's the attract new entrants. For those of you in the government, you know our primary tools are contracts and grants, and we have lots of contract specialists and grant specialists. We don't yet have a lot of innovation specialists and challenge specialists, but we tend to get stuck in the same grantees, the same contractors, and the same people around the room trying to figure out problems, and this really opens it up. So I just wanted to emphasize that point. I think Kareem covered the other ones. As Robin said, the White House came to the General Services Administration and said, let's make the technology easy for agencies. Could GSA put up a policy-compliant tool so that we do the procurement once, we do the technology once, and the policy lift once? So we, within 60 days, worked with Challenge Post, a startup out of New York City, and launched Challenge.gov on September 7th. And it is policy compliant from security, privacy, accessibility to people with disabilities, et cetera. It's been enormously successful. Since September 7th, there have been 59 challenges from 28 agencies as of this morning. And they range from everything from a $15 million prize purse that the Department of Energy is a partner in to come up with a energy-efficient alternative to the common light bulb, to challenges where the prize is not monetary but recognition prizes. In addition to the game-changing prizes that NASA's doing, they are doing one asking songwriters to submit a song, and the winning one will be played to wake up the astronauts on the final space shuttle mission. That's a good prize if you're a budding songwriter and want to be discovered. And there's many in between. Since September, there have been 140,000 unique visitors to this site, to Challenge.gov. It's open to the public. They've come from every state, 5,400 cities, and 170 countries, viewed 648,000 pages. We also set up a Twitter account at Challenge.gov, and it has 1,400 followers, and the number of followers increases by about 15% a week. So just from an agency perspective, if you're a federal agency employee for free, you can use this to create a challenge. It has a back end with a judging platform, as well as allows public voting, it allows discussions, it allows moderation. But you also can use it, as Robin said, to post a challenge from any platform that you use, because the other use of it is for the public as a portal site to find challenges from across the federal government, no matter what platform they are run on. And the public can sort it by agency, they can sort it by topic or category, they can sort it by the time left to enter the challenge, and they can sort it by prize amount and also popularity. And by popularity, it's some of the social recognition features on challenges. It has a I support this button, and it's sort of like the like button on Facebook. And this is a popular challenge from FEMA, preparing our communities before a disaster strikes. It's an ideation challenge, looking for ideas on how to prepare communities, and it has already 111 submissions. There's been some discussions on the blog, and you can see on the right it has 454 supporters. And so these may be people who don't necessarily have an idea, but they think it's a great idea that the government is doing this and that people are entering into the discussion. So agencies can post challenges quickly. They can add. They have the option to add blogs and discussions. They get analytics. They can choose to use public voting or not for a People's Choice Award, as well as expert judging. And there's social incentives, as I said, and they can feature from any platform. Whereas the public can find it, they can share it. There's social media functions in here to share by Twitter, Facebook, and email. There's RSS feeds and an API. So we're very excited about that and hope that this is one of the many tools that agencies have to use to promote this. The technology really has been the easy part, and what's much harder is how do you define what to do a challenge on within the mission of your organization, and how do you design it. And so we have a fabulous group of panelists here. I want to spend a little time introducing them so you know who they are, because you'll have many opportunities throughout the day at lunch and this afternoon to network with them. And then the format of the panel, as Jeff said, is each person will do a very short Ignite opening, and then I will do a Q&A interview format, and then open it all to you for questions. And judging by the number of questions for Pascal before, there's going to be a lot of questions. So starting with my immediate left, Lisa Pannell from General Mills, and as an innovation entrepreneur for the Yoplait division of General Mills since 2009, Dr. Lisa Pannell is responsible for applying open innovation techniques to find solutions to Yoplait's business and technology needs. In this role, Lisa searches for and works with both inside and outside the company to bring in new technologies, new ingredients, new products, and new processes that would benefit the company. Lisa earned her bachelor's degree in food science from Cornell and her master's and PhD in food science from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Lisa has 1 patent, has authored 2 papers, and 1 book chapter related to her research. Craig Wynette of Procter & Gamble is Vice President and Chief Innovation Officer, responsible for developing the creative capabilities necessary to create, qualify, and launch game-changing products and services for P&G. Craig's career at P&G spans more than 20 years, and under his leadership, his team produced many of P&G's most successful new products, superior products, as Pascal would say, including Swiffer, Thermacare, and Press and Seal, as well as initiating, completing the IAM's pet care acquisition. In his best-selling book, The Game Changer, P&G CNO A.G. Lafley describes Craig's as, quote, one of the most provocative, out-of-the-box thinkers about innovation I have ever met. In addition to applying his creative talents to the packaged goods industry at P&G, Craig was the co-author of the You series of health books. The first book, You, the Owner's Manual, debuted in May 2005 and became a #1 New York Times bestseller. And Behind Harry Potter was the #2 best-selling book in 2005.
I think they got it.
Next, we have Dr. Eugene Buff. Eugene is a technology transfer and innovation management professional with over 20 years of scientific consulting and management experience. Eugene joined Yet to Come in 2004, where he identifies and manages projects on both technology, licensing, and technology acquisitions. He's an account manager for several government and Fortune 100 accounts and responsible for Yet to Come partnerships with technology transfer organizations in Eastern Europe, South America, Asia, Israel, and the former Soviet Union. Prior to Yet to Come, Eugene worked 15 years in academic research and 6 years in technology transfer and business consulting. Steve Domek is the innovation manager at Innocentive. And Steve is an innovation professional with 18 years of technical product development, consulting, and management experience. Steve joined Innocentive in 2009 with primary responsibilities for delivering Innocentive's challenge-driven innovation methodology with its major clients. As an innovation manager for Innocentive, his role includes the facilitation of the cultural and rapid innovation principles critical to company success with an open innovation approach. Jennifer Fogarty recently joined the NASA Space Life Sciences Directorate as Innovation and Development Lead, where she applies portfolio mapping, open innovation, and collaboration tools to further research and enhance clinical resources and technology development. Jennifer joined NASA in 2004 as a cardiovascular discipline scientist with Wiley Laboratories and supported the Human Adaptation and Countermeasures Division. You already met Pascal Finette from Mozilla Labs, and Jeff introduced him. So let me turn it over, starting with Lisa, and if I could get a handheld mic when we go to the Q&A format, so I can come out here and see the panelists. Thanks. Lisa.
Hi. Thank you for having me here today. And I'll just start with a small introduction and a few thoughts on where this discussion could go. So first I want to make sure that you are familiar with General Mills is a food company, the world's 6th largest food company, and you may not know our company name as well as you know some of our brands. We're the General that makes the Cheerios and the Yoplait and the Pillsbury and the Green Giant. I am I am in a role at General Mills that allows me to work a lot with these kind of challenges, but at General Mills we don't tend to do prize-based challenges, so I'll bring that perspective to the panel today. We prefer to reward inventors with IP agreement or sometimes some kind of collaboration or partnership agreement. We find that that's where our solutions tend to come. And we have heard some feedback that third-party mediated challenges have poisoned the well for some inventors because they don't hear back. They put a lot of work into putting their proposal together, and only the winners hear back. So maybe that might be a topic for discussion today. Also, one thing that we value in not having the prize-based challenges is we know that open innovation is a lot about relationship building and the network building. And so by having challenges that are open and lead to collaboration, you can develop relationships, and we find that the second deal is a lot easier than the first. And so that's another reason why we favor our approach. And then I'll just, share with you a saying that we have in Yoplait, which is, it has been, when I started there, one of the smaller divisions in General Mills. And we would say, we should work with the spirit of the small and the power of the big. And I think that is really what sums up connected innovation. It's a change in the way we work, but it's not a change to our core spirit or who we are, and yet it connects you to the power of the big. And I loved the term of the cloud of ideas, because that really is the whole purpose of opening it up and doing this external collaboration, is connecting to the world of smart people out there.
Thank you. Craig?
Let's see. I'm Craig Wynette. You have a couple of PowerPoint slides for me somewhere? Hello? Aha. Those aren't mine, but I can still talk them if you want. Are they going to find those, you think?
Keep going. She's finding them.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. As Bev said, I'm affectionately known back in Cincinnati as the Thomas Edison of MOPS. Not exactly something that you tell your mother that you've managed to achieve, but nevertheless, over a 20-year career at P&G, what I want to talk about briefly is what I see typically happens in sessions like this is that innovation gets talked about at a fairly high conceptual level. We're talking about rewards, we're talking about sort of social networks, we're talking about technology, but what is rarely talked about is the how to do it part. The fact is that, and I'll tell you, we're gluttons for punishment, is that's not it. We're gluttons for punishment because what we've done is to, in an evidence-based way, try to study the scientific nature of creativity itself. So part of what I think normally happens is, there you go. Part of what normally happens in creativity is this. So imagine your trip home tomorrow. Welcome to cruising altitude. We're lucky to have Captain Wynette at the controls today. He's the most creative pilot we have. And this is the problem. We laugh. Why? Because creativity has kind of got a lot of baggage to it. It's not normal. It's not what we want. There are a lot of sort of non-usual suspects who are involved. And part of the issue is that what it takes to command resources and what it takes to be creative are often viewed as not the same thing. And so what I want to spend a few minutes talking about is what is creativity, right? Sound familiar? So this is what I'm sure that you guys know how to do, and this is sort of linear and makes sense and rational and repeatable. And this is what's thought to be the essence of creativity. That somehow, typically when you're taking a shower, it seems, the big idea just sort of flashes magically into your head. And of course, this is sort of a typical output of a brainstorming session, which I think is further evidence to say that whatever this thing of creativity is, it's unpredictable. Otherwise, why would we guess at it? Why would we guess at it? But here's the question. Is creativity alchemy or chemistry? And so, even though every innovator will quickly say, because this is the way it feels, is the big idea popped into my head, sort of immaculate conception for thinking. And I don't want to rule that out, but you don't want to run a company based on that idea either. So here's what we've learned. What we've learned is that while I think it's always going to have a dose of alchemy, there's a hell of a lot of chemistry that you can put into the creative process. And the chemistry means that it becomes predictable, it becomes a process, it becomes scalable, it becomes imminently productive. And let me say that what all this I think boils down to is the fact that the act of creativity itself is probably the greatest form of intelligence humans can possess, which is the capacity to reason using analogy. And so every one of these, and I could go on and on and on, every one of pick your favorite innovation is an example in which the big idea may feel like it popped in your head, but it didn't. All innovation, no matter how game-changing, no matter how seemingly revolutionary, has to be generative. It has to come out of existing knowledge. Of course, one of the criteria for a breakthrough is that it's not obvious to people who are the experts in a particular area, which makes this particularly difficult. So what is analogy? George de Minstrel, the guy we can thank for inventing Velcro, did it pop into his head? Yes, but what must have happened? What's the only psychologically plausible explanation for this? The explanation is that he, unlike the millions of other people who ran into somewhere along their hike cockleburs that stuck to their pants and their socks and their dogs, and then quickly pulled them off and went on their way. What he must have done is to look not just superficially and conventionally at that burr, he must have then said, what role is it playing in the world? He looked at it differently. He looked at it at a deeper level of abstraction. And I think what he saw was that the burr is strongly attached, but reversibly attached. And I think his brain then said, that sounds familiar. And it reminded him of a button, of a zipper, of a shoelace. And he said, these things are surprisingly similar, this cockleburr and a button. Who would have thought? And this is analogy, two things that are incredibly different at a superficial level, but very much the same at a deeper conceptual level. This is the same in all of these. So the way we start our sessions is not under the brainstorming myth. And the brainstorming myth assumes that whatever it is this esteemed group is going to do today, it's going to be the first time in the history of the world that it's ever happened. Of course, the good news is there's a good chance you'll get a Nobel Prize if you're successful. Of course, the bad news is we've been in business for 175 years and we haven't gotten a Nobel Prize yet. So I think this idea then of starting with the basic assumption that somebody somewhere has already solved your problem is the way that I think all of this has to begin. Because again, if the solution doesn't exist, I think you're going to have to invent some or discover some net new law of nature of which the only way to go is trial and error. So let me summarize with this. Rather than alchemy, I think at the core of the act of creativity itself is this first ability to realize that unlike the pilot, creativity really is normal. It's a normal way of thinking. We all can do it. We've proved it. Second, that what you have to be able to do is to see beyond the superficial parts, the conventional parts of your world, and that's tough because all of that works. It works incredibly well. James Dyson, I should say Sir James Dyson the billionaire, who invented the cyclonic vacuum. Did he invent cyclones and centrifugal force? Obviously not. What he did is he saw that as analogous to the role a physical filter played in a vacuum. Again, another version of the same story, to be able to see below the surface, to find similarities despite differences, to be able to generalize from experience, to be able to say, this is what specifically happened, but then quickly say, this is what generically happened. And at NASA, you talk about project portfolios, which everyone has. What we think about is problem portfolios. What handful of generic problems are we facing if we just took a look at it that cross-cut all of our divisions, all of our sectors? And then the givens, I've talked about those, the givens. And at some point, I'd love to talk about some of the givens around compensation, pay for performance, which turns out itself to be a myth. Right? Think of the very idea, compensation. What it means is you're going to get paid for doing something that apparently you wouldn't do anyway, you wouldn't do otherwise, and therefore you need to be compensated for it. Innovation, as I think our Harvard Business School friend said, is driven mostly by intrinsic motives, love of the work. I do it anyway. I do it for free. And I'll end with this. Anybody ever watched The Dog Whisperer? You know, The Dog Whisperer, if a dog is reacting badly, what's his name? Caesar says, "Shh, shh." So I was with a local version of The Dog Whisperer in Cincinnati a few months ago, and we had a new puppy, and he saw me pulling a slipper of mine that he had dragged into from my bedroom. And I started yanking on it, and he just me, you know, "Stop, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, isn't that what you do when the dog has grabbed your slipper?" He said, "No, here's what I would do, the exact opposite. Jam it in his mouth, and he'll never take it again." So the message is this, that while we're always busy sort of yanking and doing what's conventional and normal and obvious, you're not going to get anywhere unless you put a pause in the way that you're thinking, to be open to the other possibilities, which in most cases, and this seems to be common in most breakthroughs, is the exact opposite of what you're normally doing. Works even better. Thanks.